All right, we're gonna do something a little different here. So I am through and through more so of a commander player. So I used to see commander deck techs all the time, and I thought it'd be cool to kind of bring that back and show you a deck of mine that I've been working on for a pretty long time. I was never usually that guy that would quote unquote pimp out their deck and have like foils of every card. But this guy came out, Kenrith. Originally when I wanted to make him, it was going to be a human tribal and I was going to do 5-color humans. But I started getting cards that were more enchantment based and don't attack me based, and they were coming more so in foil. So I thought that I would completely foil out a deck. I'm actually missing one card from this deck, so I'm still waiting on getting this. The cool thing about this is that I have not purchased any of these cards. Every card that's in this has either been something that I have traded for with friends or traded for on a website called CardSphere. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. Go check it out. Not sponsored or anything like that. It's just a great website to be able to go and trade with more people than what's in your circle. Or I've had the cards. So I'll go through these really quickly and just kind of show you what I got. So start off with the lands. Starting off with snow-covered forest. I feel like you always have to have some kind of snow covered in there. Just a couple of forest from Eldraine. We've got some plains, 2 plains, some mountains, islands. Try to get different artwork in all of those. Swamp. And then, of course, since it is Kenrith, you got to have all the castles. Lochthwain, Garenbrig, Embrith, Vantris. And then a couple of the temples, so you can scry. And then Drowned Catacombs. I do have Scalding Tarn. Kind of keeping this in place for one of the cards that I'm missing, which is a Steam Vents. So I have this in there. Haven't really decided whether or not to keep it in there, but it's kind of taking the place of a Steam Vents right now. Some of the guild gates, just for more color fixing. Reliquary Tower. I do find that this does draw a lot of cards, so one of Kenrith's abilities is to draw a card, so it's nice to not have to worry about discarding anything. Opal Palace. Kenrith does usually tend to have a target on his head, so this is kind of nice. If it enters a battlefield, it has an additional 1/1 counter on it, equal to the times that it's been cast from the command zone. This is kind of a way to hopefully keep it from being killed. Evolving Wilds. I just traded this one recently. I really like the artwork on that one. Fable Passage. Kind of like a better Evolving Wilds. And then we got our Shocklands. So Temple Garden. Breeding Pool. Blood Crypt. I'll actually be replacing this Blood Crypt. I do have a Seb McKinnon Blood Crypt on the way. Godless Shrine, Overgrown Tomb, Hallowed Fountain, Watery Grave, Stomping Grounds, Sacred Foundry. I've only got one Planeswalker in this. It's Oko. I figured that was just kind of a flavor win with Kenrith. Always have to have a Soul Ring. Soul Ring and Commander go hand in hand. So no command deck is complete without a Soul Ring. Since I'm 5 colors, Chromatic Lantern. This is one of my favorite foils. I don't know if it's just because it's a all-color chromatic foil. These are all the artifacts. So I do have Norn's Annex. This is just to help with keeping people from attacking me. If you want to attack me, you can, but you just have to pay. Hearthstone, or sorry, Heartstone. This is for Kenrith's ability, just making all of his abilities cost less. Semblance Anvil. This is just great for any spells costing 2 less. So you exile the spell from your hand. Spells that you cast that share a card type cost 2 less. Lightning Greaves, just to protect Kenrith. Little F&M promo. Sword of Light and Shadow. Actually traded this a long time ago for a foil Hallowed Fountain, which I ended up needing to get back for this deck anyways. Once again, some more stop attacking me, don't attack me, unless you want to pay for it. This was from a deck that I had, which was, he was the commander, so Guafa Hazid. It was just a way to keep people from attacking you, so I thought it went perfect in this deck. You pay a blue and a white, tap it, put a bribery counter on a target you don't control. Its controller draws a card, but creatures with bribery counters on it can't attack or block. I do have like a little voting sub-theme in here, so I try to put some of that in here as well. So we got voting. I may vote an additional time. Got all of our creatures here, so this was a buy a box promo. It was a good little trade. Will Breaker. This is great set, especially with Kenrith's ability. So whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes the target of a spell or ability, you gain control of that. It's kind of nice to put 1/1 counters on there with Kenrith's ability, and then you get to steal their creature. Savala, this is just a fun little mechanic, the parlay. Each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, I get to add mana. This works really well with Kenrith's ability as well. So, Seedborn Muse. It's a crazy card in this deck, getting to untap all my permanents I control during other players' untaps. You can use Kenrith's ability at instant speed, so this is just great to be able to do that. More voting, an additional time. Sour of Temptation or Sower of Temptation. Just steal their creatures for as long as it stays out on the battlefield. Plus it's Seb McKinnon art, which is just 1, gorgeous to begin with, 2, it's in foil, so it makes it that much better. Generous Patron. This with the Will Breaker out is always great. You can, when it enters the battlefield, you can have it support. Whenever you put 1 or more counters onto a creature you don't control, you get to draw a card. So I can put a counter on a creature that I don't control, draw a card, plus if Will Breaker is there, I get to take your creature as well. I don't want Kenrith dying, so this is just a way to keep people from casting spells that target him, unless you want to pay 3 more. This one's just a fun one to have. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, deals damage to target creature or player equal to the spell of that converted mana cost. So this just is an incentive not to cast things that damage me, unless you want that directed back at you. Resolute Archangel. This has gotten me down to, I've been down to 1, 2, 13 life, and then has brought me all the way back up to 40. Just reset the game. Keeper of the Keys, a little bit of a Monarch sub-theme. He's the king, so why not? This makes it so if I'm the Monarch, creatures that I control can't be blocked. If you got the king, you got to have the queen. So I went with Queen Marchesa. This was an awesome trade that I got off of Card Sphere. So Death Touch and Haste. So 3/3. I mean, she's just a beast on her own. Plus, if I'm the monarch, I get to one, draw a card, but if I ever lose the monarch, I can create a 1/1 black assassin token. We've got Gary. This is, I mean, I've got a lot of black in this deck, so this is just a nice way to like finish off a game if your opponent's life total is low. Clackbridge Troll. I think it's always great that the king is giving away gifts, but they're kind of crummy gifts. So it's a 0/1 white goat creature. Plus, I got to end the extended art, and it's just an 8/8 for 5. Can't really beat that. Silent Arbiter. This is just a nice way to be able to slow a game down a little bit. Plus, if I have my Clackbridge Troll out, I've got an 8/8 blocker. So if they want to attack, they can only attack with 1, and I can only block with 1. Edric. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may draw a card. So this is just a nice way to incentivize attacking somebody else. You want a card? Just attack somebody else, not me. Indulgent Patrician. It's a flyer, it's lifelink. Plus, if I gain 3 or more life, each opponent loses 3 life. So, just a way to start ticking away at your opponent. More, don't attack me unless you want to pay for it. This is a great creature to go along with Willbreaker again. When it enters a battlefield, it enters with 4 1/1 counters on it, and then I can move the 1/1 counters from target creature onto a second target creature. So it doesn't have to be my creatures. I can put them onto your creatures too. Take your stuff away. This is a key piece to the Kenrith puzzle. Biomancer Familiar. All activated abilities cost 2 less. So you start to make Kenrith cost 2 less. All of a sudden his abilities are costing single colors. Makes it great. This goes right along with that. So one of Kenrith's ability is 4 and a black, and you get to bring a creature back from the graveyard. If you have both of these guys out, it costs a black to bring a creature back to the battlefield. I've played with this card since I was a kid. Not this one in particular, but this has been around forever. Kumbaj Wishes, I think is how it's pronounced, or Kumbaji. It's just kind of a fun card. Tap it, deals 1 damage to any target, and 1 damage to any target of an opponent's choice. So if you make friends with somebody at the table, you can ping somebody, and then they can ping somebody else. Eternal Witness, just great graveyard recursion, plus it's an extended art. So kind of goes in a lot of decks, any deck that has green. Fate Spinner, this is a fun one. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player chooses a draw step, a main phase, or a combat phase, and then skips each instant of the chosen step. So you can choose what you want to do, which one do you want to lose out on. So just fun to mess with the game a little bit. Evolve on Fathom Mage, which is always nice. She's just a 1/1. The main thing that I'm using this for is to draw a card. So whenever a 1/1 counter is placed on Fathom Mage, you can draw a card. So one of Kenrith's ability is put a 1/1 counter on something. Game Plan. I've got a couple of Seb McKinnon's artworks in here. This is cool because it's an assist. Don't see that a ton. So you can get another player to help you pay for this. Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library, then draws 7 cards. So it's a nice little way to reset if you don't have anything in your hand. Grim Tutor, it's just a tutor. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, lose 3 life. Play the game. So this is another one of those assists. It's just a board wipe. So if you and another player are really behind, you can wipe the board. Farseek, just a little ramp. This was one that I actually got to play recently, where you reveal cards in your library to an opponent. So you just pick up your whole library, give it to your opponent, say, hey, find me these things, and you get 4 cards in your hand. If you make friends with somebody at the table, you can have them really help you out. Peer's Whim. This is just another one of those voting cards. So thinking about getting rid of this one. Really, this is one that requires more snow mana to cast it. So I might pull this one out. I just really like the artwork on it. I'm not sure if it fits too much. Plea for Power, another one of the voting cards. So starting with you, each player votes for time or knowledge. If time gets more votes, take an extra turn after this one. If knowledge gets more votes or it's tied, draw 3 cards. So with my voting shenanigans that I can vote a second time, makes it very easy for me to get what I'm looking for on that one. Plane-wide Celebration. This is just an alternate win condition for Kenrith. And I'll show you with another card that's coming up. So choose 4. You may choose the same one more than once. So it creates a 2/2 citizen that's all colors. You can return a target permanent from your graveyard to your hand. You can proliferate, or you can gain 4 life. Most of the time that's used for that first ability. And I'll show you here in a little bit. Wrath of God. This was a full art one that I had traded a while back. Just a board wipe. Can't regenerate. Enter the Infinite. If it ever gets to the point where I'm able to spend 11 mana or 12 mana, it's able to really kind of shut down the game pretty quickly. Dismiss into Dreams, once again, works with Kenrith's ability to target other creatures. Basically makes all creatures an opponent controls into illusion. An illusion has the ability that if it becomes targeted, you have to sacrifice it. Sanguine Bond is in here. One of Kenrith's ability is gain 5 life, and they would lose 5 life. Confiscate, just steal one of their permanents. This is a fun one to put in there as well. Enters the battlefield, I become the monarch. When a creature attacks, if I control a planeswalker, or if a creature attacks me or a planeswalker that I control, its controller loses 1 life. So once again, don't attack me. Goes along with Ghostly Prison. This one, I'm still hesitant about. I really like the artwork on it. It's nice that I have hexproof, so you can't really target me on anything. I can't lose the game. Whenever I would gain life, I would draw cards, so it's just a way to get more stuff into my hand. But if I ever lose life, I have to sacrifice or exile a permanent. The Happily Ever After is the one that goes with the Plane-wide Celebration. Huge, long list of text, but it's just an alternate win condition. I have yet to win with that, but I think when it happens, it will be a fun day. Sphere Safety, more don't attack me. Murder, it's always been a pet card of mine. Any deck that I play with black in it has murder in it. It's very simple. Destroy creature, no flavor text, no nothing. Fact or Fiction, just a way to, once again, make friends with somebody at the table, and then have them separate cards into piles. What's nice about it is if you do, it gives you the ability to have your friend separate possibly a pile of 0 and a pile of 5. Autumn's Veil, spells I control can't be countered by blue or black. I mean, most of the counters that you're going to see are going to be blue, so this is just a nice way to keep you from getting your spells countered. Split Decision, it's a voting card. Choose target instant or sorcery spells starting with you. Each player votes for denial or duplication. If denial gets more votes, counter the spell. If duplication gets more votes or is tied, copy the spell. So if there's a spell that I like that I want another one of, I can copy it. If there's a spell that I don't like, we can try to counter it. Render Silent. This just completely shuts down somebody who's casting a bunch of spells, counter a target spell, and then its controller can't cast spells this turn. And then Illusion of Choice, you choose how each player votes this turn. So if I want to control the votes, I get the ability to just say, this is how you voted. And then you get to draw a card at the end. But yeah, that is my Kenrith deck. And hopefully I can do some more deck techs on here. And if you have any suggestions, anything to take out, put in, let me know. All right, thanks for hanging out.